Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel for this a new challenge here on FS22 with me, Farmer Murphy. And I say new challenge rather than new series, although it is that. If we come around here, one look at that, and anyone who's familiar with the game will know that we are no longer on console. That's right, I've decided to give my hand at making a series using my PC. Now, I have many thousands of hours playing Farm Sim on console. If you've watched any of my content, you might find that hard to believe, but it is true. And I've made something like 150 videos somewhere in that neighborhood, but this will be my very first attempt at doing it on PC. Now, everything is pretty near new to me. Like I said, have a couple hundred hours maybe playing on PC. That's it. It's a new recording process. It's new editing process, new editing software. Even the way you post to YouTube is different. So I have a lot of learning that I'll be doing as we go along on this series. So it'll be some time before quotation marks you see the high quality videos you're used to, but it should be entertaining. All I can say is there's mistakes will be made. Uh, the, that's uh, that's going to be a fact. But anyway, what are we doing here? Well, we are here actually in Illinois. We traveled from Nebraska yesterday. I was getting late, so we stopped and slept here overnight because we didn't want to reach our destination in the dark. I'm traveling with my family, my wife and my two kids. My oldest son, James, is 18 and just graduated. Emily, our oldest daughter, I, guess- I, I shouldn't say our oldest daughter, I should just say daughter, is 16, and my wife, Sarah. And we, like I said, traveled from our large family dairy farm in Nebraska with my two elder brothers, and then I have one older sister, the youngest of four. And in fact, this truck came from our dairy farm there in Nebraska, but the trailer I rented to haul our personal belongings. And we're striking out on a new adventure here in Illinois and going to run a farm called Stone Valley. So that's where we're headed to. But all we have is our personal belongings, our household items in that truck, and of course our pickup truck and our camper trailer. Because up till this point, we've just been living on the family farm back in Nebraska. So all our equity, if you like, is tied up back there. So we have this $64,000 bank account, and we're starting a new adventure. But we've had breakfast, so I'm going to get the trailer packed up here, and we'll hit the road, and we'll talk some more about what we're up to at that point. So we'll talk to you later. Like I said, we're heading for a farm called Stone Valley. Now, we did not purchase this farm. We are just going to be operating it for the time being anyway. But like I said, we left a large operation back in Nebraska. And the reason we did that, like I said, kind of unusual for these times. All of my siblings are living and working on the farm as long with my folks. And James, or Jim as we call him, uh, since he's graduated and looking towards his future, he wants to stay in farming, and Emily is also interested in farming. And so, you know, getting a little crowded back at home. And this opportunity came up here at Stone Valley, so we decided to go for it to see if we couldn't build something for our kids' future. So that was really the reason that we decided to make this attempt. Now, if we didn't have kids, or if our kids weren't interested in staying on the farm, we probably wouldn't be doing this. But it's largely for them to, you know, help them secure their future that we've decided to strike out and take a chance and do something like this. Now, my brothers are following along behind us. We're not very far away. Now, this is not going to be a role play type of Let's Play, but it is going to be storyline based, very similar to my other Let's Plays if you followed any of them. So this is the farm here coming up on our left. You'll actually see some of the equipment is just sitting in the field as we drive by. At least it was sitting there last time I was here. Yep, it still is. Now there's a bit of a story, and I will bring you up to speed on that. But first we'll get organized here in the yard, and then we'll fill you in. So like I said, we'll get organized here, and I'll get back with you in a few minutes and bring you up to speed. So we'll see you then. Well, the rest of the family is busy unloading the truck and getting things kind of organized as best they can. So I thought it was a good time for me to sneak away, and we'll do a little bit of a walkabout, and I can fill in some of the gaps. But first off, while we're here, this is one of the pieces of gear that we have access to here on the farm. And like I say, access to, we don't own the farm. We're basically employees. But I'll explain more about that in a little bit. Now we'll look at all the rest of the equipment as well. There isn't much, but to be fair, there isn't much of a farm here anymore either, other than the fact that there are some very nice sheds around that we have to use. We don't have much to put in them, but we've got some nice sheds. So some of you may be wondering why do this now, and that's because FS25 is coming, and I have the game on console and obviously on PC with all the DLCs. That adds up to a fair bit of money. So I'm going to see how this goes, and for FS25 I may switch entirely to PC if this is well received and if I can get the hang of it. I do tend to take on big projects when I do Let's Plays, and I've got so much off-camera time, and being able to do it on PC and use things like auto drive and course play will significantly help me with that. And this series is ultimately not going to be any different, I don't think. So if you're familiar with the map, you will know that Lancy Boy put a bit of a backstory, and I'm just going to elaborate on that a bit. Basically, he said the farmer got fed up with farming and just walked off and left everything where it was. So the harvest partially done and the equipment just scattered about, which is true as you can see. But that's only part of the story. The real story is that he was in cahoots with one of the employees at the local bank who held the mortgage on this farm, and at one time it was much larger, but with the help of his inside man at the bank, he had all of the lien for the farm transferred here to the home property, which basically amounted to more than what the home property was worth. They sold off the rest of the farm and absconded with the money and left the bank holding the bag. So the bank had this property with a loan against it of more than what the property was worth. Then once they started looking into it a little deeper, they found an additional $400,000 that wasn't listed against anything that this individual had, that they are putting against this property. So there is a ton of money owing on this, and so they can't sell it, or if they do, they'll take a big loss. Now, if they were a big city bank, you know, they might not be such a bitter pill, but this is just a local bank, and so what they wanted is someone to come in and run the farm and pay off particularly the note that they're holding, so that they can sell the farm and not lose so much money. Now, I approached them and said I would assume all of the debt and take ownership of the farm, but they wanted no part of that because basically once bitten, twice shy. I can't say as I blame them. So all we have to work with is the buildings you see in the yard here. Oh, yeah, we have an empty diesel tank too. I mean, that's always, you can't beat that. But we do have some nice sheds. We have reasonable little grain complex here, a dryer and a couple silos. And we have the one partially harvested, I believe it's a wheat field here. And that's what we've got to work with, yeah, wheat. And we have a pile of debt that needs to be serviced. Now our goal is we want to get to the point where we can assume the debt and take over this farm from the bank. That's what we're hoping to do. So that is our goal. So now if we were to take a look at the setup on here, we'll see that I have set up as a multiplayer, basically 3 accounts. There is our account here, the Murphys, and we have $64,000. And we have, if we go and look, no debt. So we're debt free. We don't have a lot, but we have our truck and our holiday trailer and 64,000. That's what we came to the party with. Now we have the what's called Stone Valley. That's the actual farm. If we take a look at that, excuse me, the bank has given us a $50,000 operating float. That's what they want us to use. Well, their goal is for the year. I don't know if that's practical or not, but we'll see. But they've given us that to operate on. And this farm, though, if we go and look, it has a debt against it of $700,000. Now that is about $100,000 more than the farm is worth. So they're not too pleased about that. But if we go and look, the last account is the actual bank, Stone Valley Bank. And we need to join there. And you can see they are holding a $400,000 note that's basically unsecured, but it was taken by the individual who owned this farm. So they're putting against it. So what's going to happen is the bank is going to make these monthly payments if we don't. If they make them, now I have not quite decided yet if it'll be quarterly, yearly. We'll just see how it goes and what makes sense. I'm going to track this on a spreadsheet. And every payment that the bank has to make that we can't cover is going to get added on as another loan. So this debt will keep climbing if we can't service it. And then of course we've got the payment on the debt on the farm. I actually can't remember what that is, but it's pretty significant too. Yeah, so we have, what's that, almost $4,000 a month just to satisfy the debt on the farm, let alone try and make any money. But that's what our goal is. Going to be tough to do on one wheat field, but the silver lining is we can do contracts. Now I have it set. I have better contracts installed. We can't not actually borrow the farmer's equipment until we've worked for him for 5 times. So that means that we need to use the equipment we have available. If we use the farm equipment at all, then 80% of the contract goes to the farm and we get to keep 20% for our labor. Now, we can do contracts ourselves if we have our own equipment. I mean, there's nothing stopping us from buying our own equipment on our own account. And if we do that, of course, we get to keep all of the money. So we're really counting on contracts to survive here early on. Now, I am using mods like Auto Drive, Course Play, Follow Me. One thing with Course Play, because my family is all here and helping, the first 3 workers on Course Play, I'm not going to incur any charges for because that's my family contributing to helping out on the farm. And it's, at least for a while, it's unlikely we'll ever go beyond that. So what do we have for equipment to do this with? Now we have, I say, I'll say the equipment that came with the map, but I'm using that loosely because I have replaced a few items with mods. But actually, everything is sitting pretty much exactly where you would find it if you came on a new farmer. So there was a 7810, but not this 7810. This is a modified one. It's been chipped up, so it's got 215 horsepower rather than the standard 175. And the other thing it has is a nice big fat tires that I really like. But the seeder is original to the farm. I didn't change that. Over here we have a 4955, where on the original map it was a 4755. Again, this just has a little bit more horsepower. 100 and no 228 versus 190, I believe. So this is a mod again, but the cultivator is original to the map. And I just upped the horsepower on these two to help us with the storyline. Of course, you've seen the pickup. And over here, we have a Massey Ferguson and trailer that I did absolutely nothing with other than put some hours on it. And then we have a harvester. Now, there was a Deutz-Fahr harvester here. I put in a John Deere one. I thought it fit better on a John Deere farm. It has the same horsepower, or actually within 3 horsepower of the Deutz-Fahr. It does have a little larger hopper, but the same size header. And it is newer than what the Deutz-Fahr is, but it's certainly not new. This is like a 2000 model, so it's like 25 years old. So that's what we have to work with. Now, I did put hours on all of this equipment. I did not put on the kind of hours you might expect to see on equipment of the age that it is. If you put those kind of hours on it, it would be worth nothing. And, we've got a hard enough challenge ahead of us. So I put enough hours on to bring the value down, and so that it had some hours, that put a little wear, threw a little dirt on it, but nothing like what you would expect in real life. But when you jump in them, we'll see there are hours on them. Now, speaking of that, I do have the maintenance, a couple maintenance mods. One allows me to adjust the maintenance costs, which I have taken down. I've cut that in half, and extended the interval. But of course, the hours on the vehicles will still ramp up the rate at which maintenance happens. It doesn't affect that. And then I have another mod, is if you don't do the maintenance on the vehicles, I think it's when it gets less than 50%, I believe, that you'll start having issues. And I actually have a large number of mods in here that promote realism, like the lone one. And so if I mention anything and you're wondering what it is, if you message me, I'll certainly let you know. But I'm I'm not going to list them all, and I don't know them like I do console mods. So half of them I don't know the name. I'd have to go and look it up. But I have like manual refueling is another one I have, an, an exhaust mod, a tire sound mod, all kinds of things like that. So if you see something and you say, how's he doing that? If you message me, I can probably remember what it is, hopefully. Now, I have all of my standard favorites on. So we have weeds, precision farming, seasons, rocks, crop destruction, all that good stuff. Right now I've got the time turned off just because this is, although it's the first video, it's just kind of an introduction. The fun really starts next episode. And then I'll crank the time up to ×3, I think is where we'll run. And I've got 4-day months. And I really like that. If you're starting a large job, you can run into the next day on you. The days aren't endless. And maybe we'll crank that time up some more, I don't know, but I think that's where we'll start. Now for August, because we only have 1 month, or 1 day I should say, the month of August, I'll probably keep it fairly low, like maybe 2 times or maybe even 1 times. We'll see how we make out for contracts, but we will slow down time, but just for August. I think that is everything. That's all the equipment. I'm sure I will have forgotten something, but like I said, this is just a start to kind of kick things off and give me opportunity to practice my editing and uploading skills. And we'll get into it for real the next episode. Now this truck and trailer, I think I mentioned that, but that my brothers will be taking that back. Obviously, we'll be taking the truck home. They're going to drop that rental trailer off for me on the way, so that will be gone, and we'll be left with the equipment you saw and our truck and trailer. So, and a hound dog. It looks like we should have wandering around here someplace. Although I don't think I've seen a dog. We have a dog house, so no. Oh, Rudolph. So there must be a dog around. See if it comes running when we throw some food down. Don't see him. Must be out exploring someplace. Oh, here he comes. At least he's not like the dog on Valley Spring that seems to wander away for days at a time. But anyways, I will leave you there for this kickoff to our adventures here on Stone Valley. And what I've explained is basically just the tip of the iceberg of what I have planned. So I'll hope you will join me for the ride. It should be fun. So if you're still with me, really appreciate you watching. If you haven't already, I encourage you to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want to see when other content like this lands, hit that old notification bell. But for this episode here on Stone Valley, it's Farmer Murphy signing off.